The sound of the evening wind brushed against the old wooden barn, whispering through the cracks like a secret too heavy to keep. Mary stood there, her hands buried deep in the pockets of her faded dress, her eyes fixed on the dusty horizon. The ranch was quiet now, too quiet. Once it had been full of laughter, the scent of bread baking, the voice of a man who called her beautiful even when she didn't believe it. But that man was gone, taken by a storm and a wild horse he couldn't tame. Now, all that was left was her, Mary, the widow everyone whispered about, the woman who had gained weight after her loss, and the one nobody looked at twice anymore. That afternoon, when she walked into the local store to ask about work, she overheard them again, the voices that stung worse than thorns. "No one marries a fat widow, sir," one of the ranch hands said with a cruel laugh. "But I can work," she had whispered to herself, clutching her small purse tighter, trying not to cry. She wasn't looking for love. She just wanted a chance to live, to earn her way, to matter again. Outside the store, she met him, Ethan Cross, a tall cowboy with quiet eyes and a voice like low thunder. He had a reputation for keeping to himself, but he noticed her, really noticed her. She tried to avoid his gaze, embarrassed by what she had heard inside. But Ethan stopped her. "You're looking for work, ma'am?" he asked gently. She nodded, her voice trembling. "I can cook, clean, mend fences if I have to. I don't mind hard work." Ethan studied her for a long moment, his eyes soft but strong. "Work's not the problem, ma'am. You see, most folks here think a woman like you don't belong on a ranch. But me," he paused, adjusting his hat, "I reckon folks around here don't know what real strength looks like." His words caught her off guard. For the first time in years, someone had looked past her size, past the whispers, straight into her heart. She wanted to believe him, but doubt ran deep. "You don't have to be kind, Mr. Cross. I know what people say." Ethan's lips curved into a faint smile. "Ma'am, I ain't being kind. I'm being honest. You've got fire in your eyes, and that's rarer than beauty these days." Something inside her broke then, not in pain, but in release. Tears she'd held back for so long spilled down her cheeks. Ethan didn't look away. He didn't pity her. He just stood there, as if waiting for her to remember she was still alive. By sunset, Mary had agreed to start working at Ethan's ranch. As she walked beside him down the dirt road, she felt the wind change, cooler, softer, like hope brushing against her skin. She didn't know what the future held, but for the first time since her husband's death, her heart whispered, maybe I can live again. The sky turned golden as they reached the fence line. Ethan stopped and looked out over the fields. "This land's tough," he said. "Takes more than muscle to work it. Takes heart." He turned to her with a slow grin. "Something tells me you've got that in plenty." Mary smiled faintly, the corners of her lips trembling. "No one's ever said that to me before." Ethan's eyes glimmered in the fading light. "Then I reckon it's about time someone did." And for the first time in years, the heavy silence around her heart began to fade. Maybe this wasn't just about work. Maybe fate had brought her to this quiet, dusty ranch to remind her that love, real love, wasn't about how you looked, but how you stood back up when the world knocked you down. As the night settled in, the stars lit up above the ranch, and Mary whispered a silent promise to herself. She would give this new beginning everything she had. The whispers of the town no longer mattered. What mattered now was the way Ethan had looked at her, not with pity, but with quiet respect. Little did she know, her courage had already stirred something deep in the cowboy's heart, a feeling he'd thought he'd buried long ago. And that was the night when the silence inside her finally broke.